This call is being recorded.
Okay. And in your original Kickstarter video, Lily, you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. In the original Kickstarter video, there was some music in the background, and I don't know whether it was just stock music or a popular band that I'm not, aware of. Do you know offhand what music was chosen? Just as background when they sometimes ran those pictures, or it's not important, but I was just curious.
You might have to ask my dad that question because I don't really remember.
Okay. Now you back to we're going to move around in time and space here. Back to the White House. You met Bill Nye, right?
Yes, I did. I did.
Was it a brief? Were you able to chat at all, or there's people are just moving constantly?
Yeah. At the beginning, before anybody really came in, like it was just the exhibitors, and me and the two, and like me and the three other exhibitors. Four. I'm sorry, like four other exhibitors that were in my room. We were gonna walk. Yeah, we were gonna walk down to get our breakfast / lunch. While we were doing that, we ran into Bill Nye, and yeah.
You remember what was said?
We talked for a little bit.
Do you remember anything about what you talked about, or?
I think it was.
Imagine he asked.
I believe it was just. Well, he did. I think he did ask what we were there for, or what we were exhibiting, and just like the usual, are you excited? Yeah.
Well, it must have been I'd be thrilled to meet Bill Nye. I'm quite a fan.
Yeah.
I imagine you were too.
Yeah.
Was he? So he's a pleasant fellow?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you explained the project to him, and he liked that idea. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
He taught me how to take a picture with the volume buttons on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's the science guy.
Yep.
He knows that stuff. After the White House, after it was all done, the president, the box lunches, and the exhibiting, and all the hustle, and the security checks, and all the hustle bustle. Your family your dad couldn't come in; it was just for the exhibitors. So, did you need to go over? You got out. Did he meet you at the gate of the White House? Did you meet him back at the hotel? How'd you meet? Right after the event.
Well, after towards the end of the event, my dad was actually able to be let in to help me pack up everything. So he came to me in the China room, and I sat for a very long time.
And this was while he packed up?
Yeah, he packed up most of the stuff while I just kind of sat on the floor of the China room at the White House.
You must have been pretty wiped out after that day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What'd you say to him when you first saw him? Or do you remember? I'm asking questions that go out of the human memory more often than not. But sometimes you remember and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. While the science fair was still going on and he wasn't allowed in there, I actually got interviewed by Bill Nye and some sort of basketball player, and the fact that I don't know his name kind of shows you who I what I'm into and what I prioritize. But basically I got interviewed, and my dad was in this other room with all the parents and everybody, and they got to watch it on this projector. I don't know what it's like in there, so you might have to ask my dad about that part. But
you were interviewed by Bill Nye, or he was? I'm sorry.
What?
You were interviewed by Bill Nye, or he was, or
I was.
oh, that doesn't exist anywhere, does it? On tape or video?
I'm pretty sure a video exists somewhere. You could. I know my dad has it somewhere, but I just don't know where.
Okay, I'd love to see that. That would be terrific. And so all that was going on, but then when it all settled down, you were walking out of the White House together, I take it. The evening was coming. It was there.
Yeah, it was around like for like I want to say 5 or 6.
Mhm.
When we got out, we were gonna go home that day. So so we went to a restaurant to eat, and then we got in a cab and went back to the airport.
Do you remember anything either of you said to sum up the experience of the day or the White House? Your feelings? He must have asked you. I'm guessing. What I'm doing in this book, there's some points where I put in, especially if it's really basic dialogue, like if you hand somebody something, he'll say thank you. It's a pretty good guess, and you'll go over them and see if I was close. We adjust things so they're real. But at some point, he must have asked you how did it go, or something like that, or did he?
Actually, one of the first things I asked my dad was like, did I do okay on the interview? And then he said, yeah, you did great. And actually, when we were when we were still at the White House, there were still like a couple people there, so he kind of got to watch me like tell people about it, and I got interviewed by like I think like ABC and other people. I don't even know if that's right, just a news thing. But yeah, and he said, yeah, I can tell you really put it all out on the field,
You left it all on the field, right? That's what they say. And when Bill Nye interviewed you, he was interviewing you about the Kangaroo Cups?
Yeah, he just asked me I think it was like what's your experiment, or what did, or what like did like like what did what are you here for type question. But yeah.
And so you went home, and did your father say anything to sum up what he thought of the whole adventure to the White House?
I think he
I
honestly
can ask him
put
too. I'll be talking with him off and on.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get everybody's recollection best I can.
Yeah.
And so then you had a bite to eat. Do you remember what you had?
I think I had like some sort of like mac and cheese with something in it.
It's a good way to finish a day like that. And you flew home, got home late, I'm sure.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
really
what you
late.
do then is collapse, huh?
We took an Uber home, to my mom's house, and I kind of just crashed on the couch.
Sleep a long time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I once had an assignment that had me on the run for about 25 days. And at the very end, I went into my hotel room and I said, don't call him. And I slept for more than 24 hours. How about that?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Your body has to catch up sometimes. I asked you last time about spools of filament, and I was trying, and that's all I had written. And I checked my notes, and now I know it was you wanted to have you and your father were planning to have miniature kangaroo cups made up for your classmates.
Mhm.
And I guess there was a certain filament needed to produce the miniature ones, and it was, and there was a delay in getting it. Do you remember this now?
Yeah, I remember. So, basically what happened is I wanted to do like these keychains type thing for my, I believe it was my 5th grade class, and like I asked everybody like what color they wanted it to be, and like most of them wanted it to be like transparent blue, which we did not have. So so what I did was I told my dad about it, and then he just said, "All right, well, why don't you just ask them, like, do you want blue now, or do you want to wait for the transparent blue?" And most of them wanted to wait for the transparent blue. So so like so in the middle of the night, I woke up my dad like at 3 in the morning and gave him like $45 to order the filament for the.
Wow, would you get $45 out of your allowance?
Yeah.
So, and these were very small. I mean, what were they? The kind of thing you could use as a pin or hang on a necklace, or I'm trying to visualize the smaller one.
It was like a cup, but it had like a stick in the middle of it, like going from the bottom up, and there was like a circle, like a loop, that you like for the keychains or yeah.
Yeah, to put on, or you could put it on, a hole, something for a wire or a thread to go through.
Yeah.
Or I mean a chain or whatever. And you handed them out, and this presentation, and you got them made. About when was this presentation? Was this shortly after the Chicago Tribune stuff and the Kickstarter started? Was that about in that point of time?
Which presentation?
Well, the one you wanted the little film, the one you wanted the little kangaroo cups to hand out to the class.
It wasn't really. It was kind of just. It wasn't really like a whole full-on like slideshow presentation, but it was kind of just like I brought the newspaper to my class, and I just kind of like showed them like this is like what I'm like this is what I did, and yeah.
And that was shortly after the Trib story.
Yeah.
Tribune story. And do that, and then we'll see. You handed them out. Everybody seemed pleased? Did they say anything? I'm always looking for dialogue. If any words ever pop into that were said, as dialogue moves the story.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was doing a presentation. I don't know why I remember this. I just do. But I remember when I said that it was like a no-spill cup. This like kid in my 5th grade class who still goes to my school to this day. He thought that like if you like turn the cup like upside down, then it would not.
Oh. So it would spill if you turn it upside down?
Yeah, like if you just turned it like completely upside down, then it just would not spill. Even though that's not how that works because gravity exists. But yeah. And then I just remember like half the class like looking at him like he was just a little bit stupid. Like what?
Well, he was joking.
What are you talking about? Like what? What are you talking about? Yeah.
Now, it wasn't too long after that your father gave a commencement speech. It was just into 2013 at Nettlehorn School.
Nettlehorse.
Nettlehorse. I don't have that in front of me. Were you able to go to that? Did you get to see him do it, or do you just? Because I was just reading his very nice speech.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
So that must have been. Yeah, I mean, you were partners. You were both just working that out. And and if I recall, oh, my notes. Uh, that that was a school his father went to.
Yep.
Did he go to it? I can't remember now from my notes. Oh well, I'll look it up.
My dad?
Yeah.
Did my dad go to Nettlehorst?
Did he go to Nettlehorst also, or not?
No,
When he
my
was a
dad
kid?
didn't. My dad, he didn't go to Nettlehorst. He actually went to a school called Lincoln Hall, which is another school that leads into the high school that I go to.
And which high school is it you go to now? I'm trying to.
He went to Niles West, and
you go to. Pardon me?
Yeah. I'm also going to Niles West. So yeah.
Niles West, a good school. And he gave that. So his connection with Nettlehorst was his father.
Mhm.
Okay, we got that. It's a wonderful speech. I'm quoting bits of it if I can. When we go to, I looked up. You mentioned the tools you learned to use when you were in China in Jingdezhen that you hadn't seen before, and the one that was kind of oval that you used to smooth out.
Mhm.
The thing I learned that's called a rib. Did some research. And they have different kinds of ribs, slightly different shapes and things, but what does that is called a rib. And was it the friend in Wisconsin who taught you how to use that, or was it somebody in the factory, or?
It was just kind of something that I learned how to use at Bookhouse.
Okay, but there wasn't any particular person who showed you how that thing worked. Because I'd look at it and say, well, what do I do with that?
Well, I mean, like the woman at Bughouse, her name was Andrea, and she taught me like how to like throw like how to like make bowls on the wheel.
Oh, so you learned that at Bughouse, not at Jingdezhen.
Yeah, no, I learned that at Bughouse.
Okay. And when you were in Jingdezhen, did you run into any new tools that you didn't know, or had you learned it all pretty much at Bughouse?
Most of it was pretty familiar, but yeah.
Because I did some research into this type of thing, and I was amazed at how many different kinds of little tools there are to use to make the creation come out the way you want it to.
Mhm.
Okay. You remember any comments your friends made when the trip story came? I mean, like wow, or how'd you do that, or anything like that?
Well, I don't really remember any specific comments.
That's okay.
To my friends, but yeah.
Now, when you're in Jingdezhen, you mentioned that you went to this one sort of zoo park where they had birds, right?
Yeah, we went to like this like yeah, we went. Are you talking about like the zoo with like the tiger? Like the
zoo,
tiger that
you said
wasn't
there was
there?
an empty tiger cage. I mean, the tiger. Yeah. I had the. Do you know why it was empty? Was the tiger sometimes there and sometimes not, or did anybody explain why there was no tiger? That he died.
Well, there was a sign, but it was all in Chinese, so I had no idea what it said. So I just kind of assumed that like it comes out on some days, but sometimes it doesn't.
Oh yeah, sometimes in zoos they have enclosures they can go into or they can come out. But there was a picture of someone petting the tiger. You said it was mostly birds at that zoo, if I recall.
I don't remember saying that, honestly.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I asked you, well, let's go over it again. Were there other animals that you could see, or was it?
I don't really remember at the moment. I'm sorry.
Okay, and Yeah, I have in my notes that you mentioned there were birds there, but maybe they're just birds flying around. And yeah, I've looked up. I was trying to find the name of the zoo. Maybe your dad remembers. They have lots of parks and things. But I was having trouble in my researches into Xinjiang to find out if it was called a zoo or a park or what. But it was kind of a park with a zoo. Well, like Lincoln Park Zoo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. It was yeah, it was just kind of like one of those parks where there's not really any play sets. It was just kind of like a park that you walk around in. But yeah. Yes, Mom?
With various animals on display or whatever.
Huh?
With various animals on display here and there. If it was a zoo.
There weren't many. Here and there were.
Okay. And wait, where am I? Let's see. Oh, I'm going to go back to Imagine. Would you call it Imagiru? Okay.
Mhm.
If you tell me a little bit about how that came about and when, and how you came up with the name. I can see where the name derives from, but how you came up with the name. Just take me through that again.
Well, I mean, it was kind of just like an alternative name because before it was called Lily Ann LLC. Okay, Mom. All right, give me a second.
I won't be much longer. I'll let you go.
Okay.
But if you could tell me about Imagiru.
Yeah, so it was kind of actually like an alternative name that we came up with because before before the company was called Lily Ann LLC, Ann is my middle name, but so. And so we got to thinking, and we kind of thought that it sounded like a.
It's called Imagination and Kangaroo. Yeah, I mean that's where I took it. But who came up with that name?
Yeah.
You or your dad?
My dad did, but yeah, we kind of had to change the name because we got to thinking, and we kind of thought that Lily Ann sounded like a little girl's clothing store.
Well, it's a wonderful. Imagiru is a wonderful name. And when was this? Was this about that you came up with Imagiru and decided to name it? Was this right after the Kickstarter or right before the Kickstarter? Or when does it date to?
When was what? I'm sorry.
When was the company itself formed? First Lily Ann, and then Imagiru. Was that about the time you were doing the Kickstarter and all that?
Yeah.
So it was, putting all that together in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I can tell you're being paged by your mom, and you got that project going, and I'll let you go. But maybe we can talk next Sunday. Then the holidays come. That'll be tough, but we do next Sunday. And you don't know when your dad gets back from China.
Yeah, I can probably text him about that.
Well, whatever it is, I'll be sending an updated, longer version of the book early in the week. But it won't do much. Well, maybe you can see when he's in China, whatever. But I will be on Monday or Tuesday. I've added a number of chapters, and I'm skipping around as we progress. And I'll probably need to have an interview session with him for some of these dialogue questions I'm asking. And as I say, the human mind is, you never know what you're going to remember. And if you ask me about a conversation that occurred 4 years ago, I might be, so don't feel bad about it. It's just the way it works.
Yeah.
Did you keep a journal at all? Do you keep a journal?
I don't really. I mean, sometimes I'll do like voice memos, but that's really only when I'm feeling really, really bad. So yeah.
Oh, I'm not looking for that, but I was wondering if there might be some things in a diary or a journal that aren't personal that have to do with the project and such. And if there are, maybe you can refresh and whatever. But we will, we will continue for there. So yeah, look for Monday or Tuesday. I'll be sending along a big chunk, and I want to talk to your dad when it's convenient, because what I'm doing is I'm writing with gaps. Sometimes I'll just have dialogue in big letters and hoping that we can come up with dialogue that happened at this point, or certain facts that need to be filled in. I managed to do the research and find out the name of the factory that you were at in Jingdezhen, but I don't know the name of the hotel, that sort of thing your father might have, or he might have a record, because these are little facts and details that need to be put in at some point.
Yeah.
But the whole process is we go over, we write it, we change it, we do it, and at some point in the next month or so, we'll have a text done, which I look to be something to be inspirational to something to kids your age, and also educational to a certain point to show how you did it. I'm including some things. And once we get a whole thing done, then it's time to go through the whole thing again and see what needs to be. It's like a never-ending process, but at some point it will be just done.
Mhm.
So I appreciate your help very much on this, and go make some pasta.
Yeah.
Okay, have fun.